from Korea, and also what would be the hottest, the hotspot, that those investment themes that you've been seeing? Is there any trend? Is there anything that you would like to share from the domain market point of view?
Korea has a lot of similarity with Taiwan, but in sense, we have a lot of different industries having. So we are very, but from 2 years ago, they were all about blockchain and like cryptos and everything. And Korea was one of the highest crypto patents that they had in blockchain next to China. But now it's all gone. So it's very trendy in a sense that now we have all about Gen AI. It's same as the Taiwan. But also we have defense area, like it's pretty strong in Korea. So we are having a defense fund specific for defense area, and then we have robots, and IoT, of course, and ESG is a big thing. So before ESG was all about the environment, but now it's more of the cultural thing, and then the self-services kind of places. So we are pretty much everything. But platform is one of the things that VCs are not really trying to actively looking into. So I was kind of surprised that the platform area is pretty good in Taiwan. So that's one of the things. It's because we have tendency to invest in certain areas every year. We have trend kind of thing. So I see some opportunity from a Taiwanese talent, like software engineers or somebody who can make softwares to come to Korea. And as a talent, you have a lot of talent pool that we can utilize. And Korea has lots of government aid. Yeah, it's not equity. Like you just they give out money to have you. So that's one of the great start points, that if you can maybe cross over your startups to Korea, that's what I see.
I want to follow on for the government ads. Like for different kind of whether it's subsidies or supporting programs, can you like name one or two that the Korean government has been supporting the whole startup ecosystem?
We have a lot, like a T-Hub or a TTA that I visited yesterday. We have very pretty similar structures, but we also have investing. They also invest in the companies. So pretty much all of the government, maybe CCEI, Center for the Creative Innovation, and all the universities and all the government institutions, and the Spark Lab in Korea is pretty big. Yeah, and we have R&D expense. You can utilize the R&D. If you get investment seed round, you can have pretty much of 500 to 800 USD, 800,000 USD as an R&D expenses for your startup. So you can utilize a lot of government projects. It's not limited to the only Koreans. So that's the thing that you can have. And the Grand Challenge kind of thing. Yeah, so if you are exposed to the media and then all the investors, Korean VCs tend to co-invest. So if you get to make a connection with one, everybody's gonna invest. It's not 100% sure, but that's a tendency for Korean VCs, because we wanna be secure by funding, so that's one of the things. And also the co-creating funds. So we have a lot of co-GP funds. So you can utilize just having investment from one fund, but that fund has a lot of VCs in it. So that's kind of the all different ecosystem we have. Yeah.
2 weeks ago, Spark Labs Taiwan, we just took 10 startups to Korea, and we get that kind of observation is that the whole Korean, like the vertical funds, there's so many vertical funds, whether it's like deep tech, healthcare, or related to like national defense related topics. There's a vertical fund that's supporting the theme-based startups, and we've been seeing not just for investments but also the subsidies. So I think it's a good timing for not just for Korean startup but also for international startup to consider Korean as a market to enter. Yeah. How about Japan?
I think kind of Korea. She mentioned. I think Korea is more kind of sophisticated, kind of compared to Japan. A little bit Japan is, my personal opinion, is a little bit conservative. Of course, kind of in Japan, we're market-wise we're still quite good, but quite means quite big compared to the other market. but like the topic-wise kind of investment in is a generally almost same situation, kind of AI, big data, and also robots, and then but like one thing kind of recently kind of in Japan, and then also this is kind of investment theme is inbound tourism. This is a very hot topic right now, so that's why kind of regarding the kind of VC market, also kind of related to kind of inbound tourism, that kind of startup company, they're very kind of booming a lot, I think. Yeah.
Is that related to like some of your portfolio companies are
Yes,
also doing
yes,
that?
yes.
So when you say like inbound tourism, like is that mostly in which cities or any kind of the supporting ecosystem for what kind of international startup to enter into the Japanese market? I mean, like I think like Fukuoka is one of the cities that attracting a lot of startups.
Yes.
Is there any like suggestions like outside of Tokyo or? Yeah.
Tokyo, I think Nagoya and Fukuoka, these two cities, I think VC fund and also startup ecosystem is developed a lot, I think. Unfortunately, my hometown Sapporo is also growing, but like not so many kind of startups that are there, I think.
According to a lot of like supporting ecosystem from the government side, we've been also seeing like a lot of support from the government. They are setting out different kind of initiatives. So what's the situation right now in Japan?
Yeah, of course, there are a lot of kind of subsidies or something kind of support to startup ecosystem, but like, and normally kind of in Japan has a little bit, there are some barriers for foreigner startup. So that's why I suggest kind of if kind of foreigner startup going to Japan need to support anyone kind of investor or some other kind of partnership. That's very very kind of important, I think. Yeah.
So when overseas startup want to enter into Japan, building partnership with local companies will be very key.
Yeah, and then taking long time. That's why I suggest kind of having kind of relationship between kind of of course through the friend investors. The kind of key partnership is very important, I think.
Relationship is very key.
Yes,
for entering the Japanese
I
market.
think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
How about Southeast Asia? What's right now the hot topics or the things we've been seeing?
If you from time to time read news about Southeast Asia investment, you'll probably find that fintech draws the most attention. I think every investor in Southeast Asia has some fintech portfolios. But in my opinion, there is a recently very interesting topic that is electric vehicles, including two-wheelers and four-wheelers. On the government side, they have very strong motivation to build this industry because the very long supply chain promises job opportunities, infrastructure investment, reduction of carbon emission, and it's a chance for them to incorporate a variety of technology from outside. On the startup side, the founders also find very strong demand from the drivers because in Southeast Asia, vehicles are more of a money-making tool than traffic tool. So the drivers, they have very strong incentive to seek more efficient alternatives. And the vehicles plays an important role in many business models, including e-commerce, logistics, and delivery services. So two of our portfolios, one is 𝗧𝒏𝒅𝒆𝒓, is the biggest e-scooter company in Indonesia right now. They are also partnered to Grab. And also iMotorbike, the motorbike e-commerce platform in Malaysia and Vietnam. They both show very strong numbers in growing demand.
When you mention about more like a EV or like the whole, like it's not like logistics, it's more like infrastructure. Is that like the entry barrier for startup to build that? So how would they do it? Is that mostly like from the previous working experiences or because it sounds like very capital intensive.
I think if you are thinking about building the whole vehicle, it could be very capital intensive. But there are also many affiliating opportunities. So for example, many companies are actually using AI technology to do mapping tools for the logistics services. They are also building systems or a dashboard for the fleet, truck fleets, to more efficiently operate their fleets. So I think you are definitely right that in order to build the whole vehicle, you definitely need help from the government. But if you just want to ride on this wave using other technologies, I think there are still a very big room for that.
Government is very supporting for building those infrastructure.
Yes, yes. I think Indonesia and Malaysia and soon Vietnam will proffer out new spec. So you have to follow the spec in order to build your electric vehicles. So when you invest in this area, you have to be very careful about whether your startup has actually get approval with that spec.
Okay, so you need to study more. It's not just like jumping into the area directly, but maybe to do more study on those kind of regulation-related topics.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So since Southeast Asia, the home market is already big enough. Not sure, do you see a phenomenon for those companies that trying to go outside of the region? Do you see that kind of things that happen?
Yes, one of our portfolio, 𝗏𝗏𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒅𝒄, now is the biggest fashion company, fashion startup in Singapore. They actually come to Taiwan, and I think it's like, say, a Taiwanese founder tries to go to Southeast Asia. I think she should do exactly the same that she has done in Taiwan. So when the Southeast Asia company come to Taiwan, they did the fundamentals. They have people here, observe the market, build a team, set up pilot program, collect data, refine the product, and back and forth. So 𝗏𝗏𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒅𝒄 only set up online store in Taiwan, but they have offline store in Hong Kong and offline store in New York. Now they have about 50% revenue coming from overseas. So I think a lot of Taiwanese startups can do that as well. In fact, last month we brought our Taiwanese portfolio Meta CRN to Indonesia and Singapore, and to meet partners like Grab or expert network like Momentum Works. And I think the founder realized that only when he was there could he started to ask realistic questions and provide practical solutions.
How long does it usually take for those kind of the brand company or product companies to expand to a new market?
I think for more software heavy company that does not require local connections or brick and mortar stores, it could be as fast as something like 2 to 3 months. But if you go into something that's heavy retail or heavy infrastructure, something more than half a year or even a year, I think is necessary.
So just follow on what you just said, Southeast Asia companies already stepping into Taiwanese market with that kind of 3 month long this kind of pace. So any kind of suggestions for Taiwanese companies if they want to go out? Is there any doing the similar strategies, or do you consider what would be the key elements for those founders to go out?
I think the most important element is still to go to the market directly, buy a ticket, and then fly to the target market. Because I think starting your business in a new territory is equally to starting a business in your own territory. Just the same, you're starting a new company. So you have to do all the things you have done before. But it will be faster, I think, to some extent, if you are able to connect to the local people, local VC, and the local expert networks.
So I want to a little bit summarize for what Yana just shared. I think for not just for Taiwanese company, but I think for any kind of a local company will try to be internationalized, you definitely need to consider just go there. You need to be there to feel the market. And the best way to shorten that kind of path will be connect with the venture capitalists or the ecosystem players, no matter it's accelerators or maybe some of the professional service providers, so you can get into the market.
I think you can definitely go to a new market now. You know it very well.
That's what we're helping more Taiwanese company to do. Yeah. So what about Japan? Do you see that kind of phenomenon for Japanese company try to go out?
A lot of Japanese startups, they try to go out of Japan market. In Japan, normally, Japanese VC fund we also firstly focusing on growing up in Japan. So that's why a little bit of course since they established the company, they are planning to go abroad soonly, but a little bit taking time. always. That's why I'm thinking we need to somehow change their way to go overseas quickly. So like they compared to the other market like Taiwanese, Hong Kong, Korean, they're very quick to go overseas because market-wise, I think Japanese always first too much focusing on their own market. So that's why a little bit slowly they're going out. So that's I think Japanese the current it's not problem but like we need to consider that quickly. I think. Yeah.
Since that the most of the growth is like steady, it's not like J-curve growth, it's not like grow so that fast. But according to this, do you see any kind of the opportunities for international startup to soft-land the business to Japanese market? Is that, or that you consider that's also very tough?
That's also tough, but like I mentioned, of course, Taiwanese and also the other foreigner companies, they have knowledge of international, global. So that's why they're very challenging, and then they're coming to Japan, and then to open the market is very easier than Japanese startup to go overseas. I think that's my understanding because they're speaking English very well, and also a lot of people can speak Japanese. That's very strong. I think.
How about Korea?
In Korea, I think we have short temper. We are known to have a short temper, so everything should be very quick. So before it was all about the Korean market. You have to have some traction in Korean market first. But nowadays it's boundless. So you have to have a traction or the sales marked if it's Southeast Asia or Japan or the Europe, and then you come back to Korea, it's more welcomed at this point. So I think in Korea we now not only trying to focus in Korean market, but also at the same time trying to see the other market. But on the to extend that point, we don't see SEA, Southeast Asia, as a global market much. They always wish to go Vietnam or Malaysia to have a factory there, but they don't think the market as their own market. But on the other hand, I think Taiwan has a small market internally. So you see all the Southeast market as your market. So Taiwanese startups are more born global, I feel like. And Korean startups are more like having a traction in maybe inside of Korea or somewhere else, and trying to go as a next step to go global. So it's more like exporting your services kind of thing. So I think we have some differences, but I think in Korea now we are learning really quick. So yeah, so from 3 years ago to now, we have a lot of foreign startups coming into Korea, and a lot of startups going into the maybe Japan and the US market. So I think it's going to be a very good year next year for the Korean startups going global. Yeah.
I want to follow on that. So for you just mentioned that there's a lot of startups that right now coming from overseas market to Korea. So what usually do they need to do before entering the market? And also once when they enter in the market, what would be those kind of the key steps that they should be aware of? Because as what we all know is that Korean market, especially startup, move so fast. So how could they catch up those kind of the momentum and also the pace?
Korean startups are also really fast. So the company that I saw maybe a year and a half ago, they are now having a totally new services, and that's kind of the pivoting their business model. That's kind of norm in Korea, because all the government support, you can still try the second time with your new business ideas kind of thing. And also they try to we are we are less focused on entrepreneurship. So people try to go fast and exit fast, or maybe get acquired fast. So they are always focusing on fastest way to get success kind of thing. So they also fail fast. Yeah, those kind of things. So a lot of foreign startups or foreign workers coming to Korea, want to work with the Korean companies, they kind of feel frustrated because of the speed, yeah, and the lack of communication. The Korean people tend to talk a lot, but not really communicate. Yeah, that's what I felt. Yeah, that's one of my problems too. I think a lot, but I kind of not communicate. We don't have that much of a soft skills in communication wise. So I think if you try to make a long relationship and then try to communicate, and then but we are really good at learning, so if you tell something, they will just do exactly what you say. Yeah, so that's kind of the point of the things that you need to know about Korean to work with. So that's one of the good sides, so we can turn the product really fast. Yeah, but then at the other side, it's kind of lack of consistency, and then the lack of communication. That's the thing I see. Yeah.
Still, I think the best way is to communicate more, to align those kind of target. That would be having a higher chance to, entering the services to Korea market. Right now, because the speakers here, we are all venture capitalists. We all invest into companies and still invest into companies. I think that's very key, because right now, I think last year and this year, that the whole economic situation is quite dynamic. So a lot of VC has been very conservative, only watching, only interviewing, but not really making investments. But I want to take this opportunity to learn more about what would be your suggestions, or what you've been seeing, what those kind of the good startups that are still surviving in terms of the valuation still there and keep growing. What do you see that's something they stick on, or some characteristic that you've been seeing for the great founders that's still on the market, per your experiences?
I think in Japan, of course, recently market situation, it changed a lot. Before COVID and then during COVID, still we are seeing valuation wise, we are seeing PS or more top line basis for evaluate for SaaS model. But of course, recently market was very changed. So normally VC fund and also PE, they're focusing on more bottom lines. So that's why I think so your question is what kind of entrepreneur can survive this kind of situation is more very flexible and then focusing on their vision. That's it. Not to stick the kind of valuation or something like that. That's not more important. I think more focusing on how they can grow their business, they more practically. So that's very important, I think.
Comparing with maybe 2 years ago and also now, is there any evaluation criteria changes when it comes to investment? So what will be those?
Our criteria, of course, before that we focusing on kind of revenue growth, but recently, of course, we need to see more bottom line basis. They can be cash flow positive next year or 2 years later. We need to very carefully need to see their financials. That's our current situation. Mostly because our fund is focusing on consumer products and services, and also the phase, the financial phase. Normally after Series C or D, that's why we more focusing on cash flow, I think. Yeah.
Because that's also the trend for the later stage companies. You have the pattern that you can observe, that you can consider. How about early stage? Aram, I know you mostly looking into early stage companies.
Actually, we have AC and VC at the same time.
AC means accelerator.
Yeah, accelerator. Yeah. So we do pre-seed to the pre-IPO deals. So in this market, it's kind of harsh for the VCs, right? So we tend to find a very low value, but very early stage, and then we put a lot of accelerating programs with them. So we give them subsidy, and we get them programs, and we invest, and then we kind of make the team from the beginning. So that's one of our strategy now. And then in the middle stage, Series B or Series Pre-A or to A, they are the ones who having very difficult times in terms of valuation and then getting the fund and the next round. But for them, one of the portfolio companies, like he wanted to do the IPO and then in maybe 5 years or so, but all the situation got worse and he needs to keep growing and he needs more funds, right? So now he has set his strategy to have a strategic investment with him. But a lot of Korean companies have a big, large companies like Samsung, CJ, or LG, and all these kind of global companies. For them, it's a good market now. So they are targeting this kind of startups to buy them or collaborate with them in a cheaper price. So we also, as an investor, we need to think of the returns, right? So we are helping them to get the connection with the SIs, and then when SI comes in, we maybe invest a little more, and then we also co-invest. So we have all the networks, and then we invite them to co-invest with us, kind of thing. So I think in hard time, there are a couple startups that are going really popular, but a lot of times in the Series B or Pre-A companies are having hard time. But on the other hand, now we are doing a project fund for the pre-IPO deal for the Gen AI, fabless AI designing company startups. It's only 3 years. It's been 3 years they started, but they are already preparing for pre-IPO, and so many people are trying to invest in that company. So it's kind of the both sides, like you're investing in really early stage or like pre-IPO deals. All the monies are going in like sideways for us.
You also just mentioned about like 3 years company that are preparing to do the pre-IPO or prepare for the IPO. So do you see any kind of the shift or change regarding like the startup exit? Is there the exit situation also like be different like nowadays? What's the situation in Korea?
In Korea, the IPO was doing really well. IPO market was doing really well before COVID, and especially for biotech or bio companies. But now it's all about trend, not trend, but it's how they did in the market. So if you are the first IPO case in that market, if you are not doing well, then the startups in the same area cannot do well. It's kind of that kind of attraction thing in Korea. So now bio is a little bit of a slow, but Gen AI and the robot, that's the only two items that going pre-IPO pretty well. And now we have, but instead of that, we have a lot of M&As going on, like micro M&A with Kakao and like all this kind of the big companies. Yeah, they are trying to buy companies with not only within their boundaries of businesses, but all the different areas. So they can prepare for the future.
Maybe for companies who is seeking for IPOs, maybe the ratio right now is quite crucial, because the leading company, especially like the number one company, the first company who've been listed, their ratio will be the benchmark for other companies to get listed. And a lot of time the founders will want to maybe hold a little bit, or maybe seeking for other exit opportunities.
That's a good point. So the timing is really crucial at this point of time.
What's your view, Ian?
I think it is indeed a fast-changing world, but I still believe that the new technologies are just new forms to satisfy basically unchanged need. To consumer context, it's still fundamental human desires, and to business context, it is still more efficient products. But I think as a VC, and it's the best part of our job to work with startup founders. They focus on the operation, they optimize on that, and we have more time to read the climate of the venture capital world, and we help them to, I wouldn't say presentation, but I help them to sort of telling them that probably next day will be a raining day, so you save up something for that. At the same time, if you have this product, probably some investor in what sector would more likely to invest in you, so he can save some cost in the fundraising part.
So I want to leverage the chance to learn more. Since that's for Spark Labs, we have an accelerator. So our secret sauce to help founders to grow, no matter is like the valuation-wise or partnership-wise or how they can expand globally, is that we work closely with them. So we take those founders to go, like Southeast Asia, to go to Korea, to visit the market and get a sense about what's the opportunities over there. Can like each of you share maybe one secret sauce? How do you help the founder to grow? Is there any like ways that you collaborate with founders? Is that like very intensive meeting? Is that weekly meeting or anything that you help founders to grow? How do you consider as a VC and also supporting more like strategical investors?
I think because venture capital is like, I used to be a lawyer, so this is my analogy. So I think venture capital is like a lawyer or accounting. It's a standalone discipline. So our knowledge is about the path to capitalization. So I think our biggest value to founders is from the very first day telling that you have to start to think that the end game, because at least the end game for venture capital, maybe not the end game for the company, but if you starting from the end game, then you have a clear vision on whose money to take and what money to take, and you will have prioritize this, and it will be more efficient. Yes.
So draw the goal first and do the backward accounting.
Yes.
And see like which step, what kind of investors, what kind of market that you should have in order to achieve that goal or even faster.
Exactly.
What's your take, Aram?
For me, I'm not an expert on what the CEOs are doing, right? The startup CEOs are doing. So I try to be a partner, like communication partner, because CEOs are lonely in essence. They cannot really discuss everything with their even with the co-founders or CTO. But as an investor, I'm part of the family, right? So they can tell me what their situations are, and then I can try to connect. I'm always trying to connect them with the options. Yeah, it's not like I'm directing them, but I'm trying to connect whatever they want or they need, and try to maybe discuss about the options they have. That's help is very soft skills that I have, but I think that's really helpful because not all of the CEOs have a clear view of what they want to do. So I think in the process of the communicating and the building up the strategy, I think I can help in that part. Yeah.
Be a good listener and also bring out more options on the plate, so those founders can do the more like choices instead of like yes and no.
Yeah, because sometimes they're so focused on like getting done some things, so they cannot see the other options, or they try to ignore some of the risks they are exposed to. So I'm just bringing up those kind of things so they can reconsider options. Yeah.
Same, but like depends on the entrepreneur. I'm a little bit changing my way, but like I'm also kind of always listening their ideas, and to make sure what is their kind of actual problem. Kind of sometimes they're seeing kind of not actual problem, kind of seeing different that kind of comparing the other competitors. That's not real situation. So that's why we're more neutral, seeing what's going on there on the business, and then to give them the kind of that she mentioned, the kind of options. Yeah, that's our start. And then also we are normally strategically investing in the startups. That's why, of course, they would like to introduce kind of some local Japanese company or something like that. We of course introduce them. Yeah.
Be the introducer or the coordinator, help those founders to shorten that kind of path in terms of like the try and error. You just bring on the resource to them directly, so those founders can grow together with the network you already have. Yeah, so I think it's very important for startups to grow internationally nowadays, and with the international investors, that startup founders got more, it's not like more than a privilege, but you got a chance to work with different minds, different kind of the mindsets, so you can add on more opinion, more options for founders to choose. Otherwise, entrepreneurship is so lonely, especially facing like the new market. If you know no one there, it definitely will be even challenging for founders to grow. And right now, the whole market, whole overall market is so dynamic. So the best way for a founder is that to stick on what you've been doing and just keep executing. Focus on those bottom lines, grow with strategic partners / investors, but still, I think the most important is that you need to set out the end result, end goal first. So you know like where and when and how do you want to achieve that. And I think that's very important. So thanks again for the 3 speakers, investors that shared about their views. Thanks a lot.